What's up, everyone? I have hesitated a long time to do a podcast or a video like this on this channel. I don't know. It just something feels weird about me just going and spouting off. Although this tends to be how I have a lot of my best ideas is just talking, right? And just getting ideas out. I've really hesitated to do this. I just didn't feel like people would want to hear this, but I realized that life gets busy and I'm in the middle of I just dumped my gym 2 months ago. I'm rebuilding another business. I have another online business that I'm building. So sometimes it's just going to have to be like this. And that's just, it is what it is. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of see what the feedback on this is. And yeah, that's it. That's all I really have to say about it. I'm excited to see the feedback. It feels a little weird that I'm just talking by myself, but it is what it is. Today is 2 years sober from alcohol. And it's almost surreal to say that for a couple of different reasons. I guess the first reason why it's pretty weird to say that is because for so long, it was a part of my culture and my weekly routine and just the things that I did. I thought it was normal. My mom would always get mad at me and get, on me about why are you doing this to yourself? Why do you keep drinking? Especially if you get anxiety the next day and you don't like it and you're wasting a whole bunch of money and you're building your business. Why are you wasting time going out? And for the longest time, I was like, you're the weird one, Mom, because you're not drinking. You're the weird one because you don't drink. And I grew up in a household that was really, how do you say it? Not straight edge, not really against alcohol, but no one drank. And mostly because a large portion of my family and extended family is alcoholics. And it's interesting because it kind of has a feedback loop and a kickback where I almost found myself having issues with alcohol, but I wasn't really honest about it. We'll talk about that later on in this podcast or in this video. But it's surreal because the culture that I was wrapped up in was that of a party scene and a party culture. And I would do all my work on the weekends, but I always said that I wanted more from my life. I want more. But when it came to the weekend, I would hit the bottle. And I never really put the two together, that I wasn't reaching my full potential or becoming the person that I wanted to become fully because I was really busy having a good time. And so coming to the second year of sobriety, which is today, I've really, really realized seriously that a lot of things that it's not really a good time drinking, at least not for me. I'm not saying that this has to be everybody, right? I'm just speaking specifically for me, for myself. So that's reason number one, is that my culture was just so heavy with it. All the people that I hung out with were drinkers. All the people that I would go to, it was just routine, right? You get into a routine. Every weekend, it's Friday. I don't work Fridays. I set up my business in such a way that I didn't work. Noon hits, let's go party, unless I have my son. That was how it went for a long time. And then Saturdays is all right, it's time for brunch. Let's go. The second reason why it's pretty surreal that I've been booze free for 2 years is just and I guess it's not an effect of it's surreal that I've been sober, or it's not really that. It's more so I've really, really taken an understanding to why I was drinking in the first place. And I've seen how much growth that I've had in the past 2 years, literally cutting out alcohol, and how much development I've been able to have in myself in the things that I want to do and the people that I want to surround myself and be around with. Have been attained partially because of quitting alcohol. And it's crazy because I think so often we lie to ourselves about who we are, who we want to be. what our intentions are in life. And these are things that we all may actually want. We may actually want these things, but are you willing to actually allow yourself to get them or to achieve these things? And for a lot of people, it's just no. It may be something that you're interested in, but it's not necessarily something that you really want. Because I tend to think that if you really want something, you're going to do everything possible to get it, or at least everything that's within your power to get it. And when you hold yourself back by doing bad habits or doing things that don't matter or make sense, do you really have an argument to say that you want the said thing? Most times I would tend to believe not. So the second part, again, is that it's not surreal in the way that it's surreal that I haven't drank for 2 years, or that this is an effect, that made me not drink. It's surreal, and it's an effect of like, hey, because I was right on this call. When I stopped drinking, a lot of these things started to happen. A lot of the people that I said I wanted in my life, the types of people I said I wanted in my life, started to show up. And it's not necessarily just because of like I don't want you guys to get hung up on the fact that it's just because I stopped drinking, because that's definitely not it. But drinking had a big part in my life. And when I stopped doing that thing, I was able to focus on the things that I truly said that I wanted for a long time. And I was able to make them reality. The people that I want to surround myself with, they don't drink. Like, they don't drink. The people that the goals that I want require work on the weekends. It requires a clear mind. It requires not feeling too tired to do the things. It requires a lot of work, man, a lot of work. And it's not possible. Well, for some people it might be possible, but for me, it wasn't possible with drinking. It just wasn't possible. If you guys see me looking off to the side, I have my computer with the display right here, showing me what I'm looking like while I'm talking to you guys. So anyway, for me, it just wasn't possible to do the two things. I had somebody say to me actually today that if I had like 1 to 3 drinks, I would be fine. And it's a weird conversation to have with people when they're telling you that they know better than you what would affect you or what wouldn't affect you. And this person definitely meant no harm by it, and there's no harm, no foul or anything like that. But it's a weird place to be in, because drinking is one of those things that if you're not doing it, you're weird. It's one of those things that people think if you're not doing it, you're weird, and you must have a problem, or you must have an issue. And that's actually something that I've kind of come to grips with more recently, is that and I said this in the last podcast on drinking, and I hope that some people can relate to this, but I didn't have a problem with alcohol. Alcohol had a problem with me. And what I mean by that is, if I was drinking, I couldn't just have one beer and quit. I was not that guy. I didn't drink every single night. I didn't want to drink every single night. I had no like real alcoholic tendencies, but like I couldn't just have one beer and be done. I couldn't have one shot. I wanted to when I had a drink, it was go time, baby. And I made an ass out of myself so many times via alcohol. And when I think back to that, I cringe, but I'm also really thankful that I went through that. And it showed me that I became a character or a caricature of the person that I never wanted to be. It did. Like, I became a person that I never wanted to be. Alcohol had a problem with me. I didn't have a problem with alcohol. The other portion to that is that I would just get angry sometimes, man, like angry. And I know everyone has their liquor, in quotes, right? Everyone has their alcohol or their liquor, their beer or whatever that gets them angry. But for me, it just whether it does boil down to the type of alcohol that got me upset, angry, mad, wanting to fight people, wanting to go against my own character or, my ethics and stuff, it doesn't matter. It's just none of it is worth it. None of it is worth it. If it's tequila, whiskey, or whiskey, if it's one of those two, if it's tequila that upsets me and whiskey doesn't, it's still not worth it for me to try the whiskey because it's just outside of my character and outside of the person that I want to be and act like in the first place. So neither of them are worth it. Taking the chance is not worth it. I think this is something else that I wonder if people can resonate with or relate to, rather, is I think a lot of times people are convincing themselves that they're happy. I think oftentimes people are just convincing themselves that they're happy. And drinking happens to be the best example that I have. When people throughout the week, they say that they're happy, but as soon as the weekend comes, they're like, oh, great. What are we doing this weekend? Are we going out? Let's go out. Let's go and have a drink. Let's go have a drink. And it's concerning to me that that's so many people's first reactions for the weekend. Because that's something about that tells me that you're not happy, that you're not exactly happy with what's going on in your life. I think oftentimes people use alcohol, weed, drugs as some sort of escapism, and they're not being honest about it. They're like, no, I'm just having a good time. Well, and something that I said to somebody today while we were talking about this was, well, why isn't every day a good time? What is it about your life that you associate alcohol with as a good time rather than just every day? That's a serious question that I have about it. And it's a question that you guys can meditate on yourself and that I've definitely meditated on by myself and thought about and realized that there were parts of my life that I needed to get rid of, because if I didn't, then I would continue down this cycle of alcohol is the fix. And I'm convincing myself daily, weekly, hourly, monthly, yearly that I'm happy. And I just keep making mistakes while drinking. And some of my mistakes were, I never got a DUI. I never did anything like super. I got arrested once, but it wasn't due to alcohol. And it wasn't like a real arrest. It was because it's a long story. I can go into that in a different episode if you guys want. It's actually it's kind of funny. So I never got into like any real sort of trouble, but I would definitely break character and not stand on my morals and ethics, and I become a different person. I think a lot of people do that. And I think what's most crazy to me about the alcohol thing is that so many people are worried about what other people are going to think about them not drinking and about them not going out with them and having a good time. And that really sucks. That really sucks. It sucks that the culture is so heavy with it that people are worried that their friends aren't going to accept them if they're not ingesting a poison alongside of them. And what becomes extra weird too is when people tell you that you'll be fine if you drink. Like, just do it this one time, and where people can't respect it. And I think some advice for the homies out there that are like sober curious, I guess is what you would call it, right? For people who are sober curious, is some things that really helped me get sober and stay sober was I decided what was really important in my life. What values do I actually hold on to? What are my goals? What are the things that I've been telling myself for a long time that I want that I'm not achieving? And then when you take a look at all this stuff and you see if alcohol adds or detracts from it, oftentimes it's detracting and it's taking away. And that really helped me. That really helped make my decision and my vision on it super clear. Was that I have these financial goals. I've had them for a while, and I have these business goals, and I have these YouTube goals and these podcast goals and living lifestyle goals and what I want to do for my parents and my family and stuff. And any time spent drinking, and this isn't just for drinking either. You can do this for a lot of things, but any time that was spent drinking, I wasn't getting closer to any of those goals. Any time spent drinking, I was likely to break character and break my moral and ethic code. Any time spent drinking, I couldn't give attention to the people that I loved. Any time spent drinking, I wasn't able to be there as the best father and show up as I could. Although the weekends that I would drink, I wouldn't have my child. I would almost never drink when I had my child. And if I did, it would be like one beer. If friends came over, I'd have a beer with them. So I guess maybe sometimes I could have one beer and be fine, but that wasn't the majority of time. That would be like the exception to the rule, right? I don't want people to listen to this and think, oh, he's demonizing alcohol and alcohol is bad. And I have my own opinions on that, right? I have my own opinions on alcohol and sorry, I had to take a drink of water. I have my own opinions on what I think about alcohol and, whether or not people should drink and is it conducive to anyone's health? I have my opinions on that. And I tend to think, like I told you guys before, that alcohol is a coping mechanism for more people than they would like to admit. And that it's not good for anybody health-wise. It's just simply not. And yeah, I don't think alcohol does anybody any good, period. I think alcohol doesn't do any good for anybody. But that's not to say that I don't think that some people can do it and handle it. It's all about how you want to live your life and the things that you value and all of that. Like it comes down to your goals, your individual thoughts on it, your individual lifestyle. What do you want to create? And if it fits in there somehow for you, hey, more power to you, kudos. I do tend to believe that it's cope a lot of times. When people say, yeah, I can fit alcohol into my life. It works perfectly fine for me, whatever. I think that more times than not, it's generally cope. That's my opinion on it. It's cope. I don't see the point in having one drink. I still don't, even as somebody who's sober for 2 years. I think that having one drink, it's like, why would you have the calories from that drink if you're not going to send it? Wouldn't you rather have ice cream or a candy bar if you want to do something that's wild and crazy? Or wouldn't you rather, have more beef or more steak? But yeah, so some of the goals that I had set for myself, all the goals actually, it just didn't add to at all. And on top of that, it wasn't beneficial for my relationship, I don't believe. And not that there was any crazy stuff that happened when drinking, but I just don't think that I can show up as the best boyfriend if I'm hungover. I don't think that, just the same way I don't think I can show up as the best friend or the best dad if I'm hungover. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that anybody can, man. I don't believe that anybody can. So yeah, these are just some thoughts that I wanted to get out. Being 2 years sober now, it's been a wild ride, dude. It's been a wild ride. The amount of things that I've been able to accomplish because I've utilized my time, my money, my energy, my weekends, my network, because I haven't been drinking, have been crazy. I had a gym for 2 years and yeah, it shut down, but I was there every Saturday. Every Saturday. We would host a Mindful Saturday once a month for a long time where people came in, did yoga, breath work, stuff like that, cold plunging. And I didn't have to worry about, being hungover or the night before. I've been able to have my son more often because I want him. And I know that I want him. If I could have him full time, I'd have him full time. But I've been able to have my son more often because I wasn't concerned with what am I going to do this weekend. So, and that's been great for cultivating our relationship. I had these crazy fitness goals that I wanted and they got put on pause because of my neck, but I didn't have to worry about training hungover or or not having energy a couple days later because I was still feeling the effects from the alcohol. There's just been so freaking many benefits. The amount of money that has been saved because of it not going out, not having a night drinking, it's been wild. So another piece of advice for my sober, curious friends, when you're dealing with people and alcohol, and people are, I'm going to keep it a buck here. If people are bugging you to do things that are against your character or against your current goals, they're not really your friends. And this is something that has been like a really, really hard thing for me to grasp and to come to terms with, is that people that you love and people that you want to surround yourself with and be around and stuff may not have your best interest at heart. And they may love you, but that doesn't make them a good friend. And if they give you flack about not coming out, or you're not the same as you used to be and stuff like that because you're not consuming a toxin, there's some things that you got to work through with those relationships, and you got to think about with those relationships. They might not really be there for you. You might actually, the reason why they're there is you for them. That might be the real dynamic that's going on that you haven't thought about, or you're not thinking about, or you don't see. And it's a wild ride when you do that. So anyways, I think I'm coming up to the end of all the thoughts and things that I want to say about this. If you want to be sober, my clearest advice is this: get real about how alcohol is serving you. Be real about what effects it might be having on you. Get real about why you're drinking in the first place. And it may not be because you're coping with your daily life. It might not be. I tend to think that for most people, that's really what it is. But it might not be for you. You know, most times when I talk to people about their drinking, it's usually people that are like just always looking forward to the weekend and don't like their jobs, and maybe there's some sort of turmoil in their relationship, or things aren't going right, but they haven't come to terms with the fact that alcohol might be their coping mechanism. Although they're not alcoholics, on the weekend, this is what I do. I have fun, and then boom, I'm back to normal life, and it kind of sucks. So come to terms with what the real reason you're drinking for is. And if it is just for fun, then it's just for fun. Whatever. Like, then screw what I have to say. You know, it's not my business. And then I would really encourage you guys to do what I did too, and to write out a list of your goals. I have a lot of them, right? Write down your financial goals. Write down your professional goals, whether it be start a business or a promotion at work, or you want to get a certain job. Write down your relationship goals, friendship and actual relationship goals. Write down your athletic goals or aesthetic goals if you have any of those. And then write down where you want to be just in general in like the next 5 to 10 years, and see if alcohol contributes to or takes away any of that. But then you also have to be honest about if you are a person who really wants these things and you're willing to put in the work, or if you're somebody who is just, okay, if I get it, it's okay if I get it, because those are two different things. And I really want to talk about that in a whole podcast by itself, maybe a 30-minute podcast, like a shorter one like this one. But I think a lot of times too, we're fooling ourselves with whether we really want something or not. So many people can say, I really want a Ferrari, right? But it's like, do you really want that? Or is it a I would like? Is it a I really want that, or an I would like? And basically how I differentiate that is, am I willing to put in the work in order to get a Ferrari and sacrifice things? Or is it even going to feel like sacrifice? Like, am I going to have a good time trying to get that thing? Write down all your goals. So, and then figure out whether alcohol contributes to or takes away from those goals. And then after that, figure out if the goals that you have are wants or would like to have. Once you can get really clear on those things, I think that it becomes, if you're not an alcoholic, I think it becomes a lot easier to ditch the bottle and to not have to continuously weekend after weekend, month after month, type thing, hit the bottle. It becomes so much easier. One thing, I'll leave you guys with this. I had, and it sounds so cheesy and corny because I feel like people talk about this on Instagram so much. One day I woke up and I had to look myself in the mirror because I had all these goals on a whiteboard. And I looked myself in the mirror and I had real talk with myself and I said, you're not the person that these goals reflect. And that conversation really sucked. It really sucked because I do truly, deeply want those things. I truly, deeply want the things that I say that I want. I don't say that I want anything that I don't want. And so having that conversation with myself really woke me up and was one of the aggregates to getting me sober as a non-alcoholic. And that can be hard. So I hope you guys did like this podcast. I hope you like this video if you're watching it on YouTube. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button. Give me a like, subscribe. Write in the comment section what you guys liked about this. If you want to support us in any way, you can go to thirdsy.com and order some sleep supplement from us by using our code countercultureZZZ. That helps. You get a 20% discount. It helps us do this more often. Buy Paper Street Coffee, just like this hoodie says. And yeah, subscribe to the channel. We'll talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening if you're on Spotify. See y'all later. Peace out. Goodbye.